Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And up today, the Week 5 college football preview for this season. Now, I've already done all the SEC teams. I did that video on Tuesday. Then I went through and did all the top 25 teams. I did that video yesterday on Wednesday. Today, what I'm going to do is go through the rest of the college football schedule for this weekend. I'm going to pick out a handful of games that are interesting to me for one reason or another. I'll preview those games for you and then give you a prediction. And we're going to do that right now. Okay, here we go. Now, as usual, this preview video and all the preview and prediction videos I do this season are sponsored by the good people over at betnow.eu. There's a link in the description of this video. Click that link. It'll take you over there. They'll get you set up for all your college football betting needs. They've even given me a promo code to let you guys use this season. So when you sign up over there, enter the bonus code Uncle Lou. That's one word, all lowercase letters, Uncle Lou, and they're going to give you a 100% bonus on your deposit. Good luck. All right, here we go. Now, I actually forgot to do this last Thursday, but I did say a couple of weeks ago, even though this is a college football channel, because there's not a whole lot of games left to preview by the time I get around to the Thursday video, I was going to include the Thursday night NFL game in the Thursday preview. So I'm going to get back to that this week. I completely forgot last week. And we have a good one tonight, too. The Minnesota Vikings go on the road, take on the Los Angeles Rams. Minnesota, sort of a weird 1-1-1. Take on LA. LA sitting, of course, at 3-0. The Rams are a 7-point home favorite, and this one comes on 8 o'clock tonight on Fox. That's something different. So if you're used to watching the Thursday night games, either on, CBS, I think, and then sometimes NFL Network, it's been moved. Tonight it's going to be on Fox at 8 o'clock. The Rams honestly look like one of the better teams in football right now. Minnesota, of course, a great team last year, made it all the way to the NFC title game, didn't they? Yeah. Unexplainable loss last week for Minnesota. Not even so much that they lost, but the way that they lost. I think they only scored 6 points, is that right? Yeah, one touchdown was all they got. They ended up going for 2 because they were down so much, didn't get that. That's how they ended up with the 6 points. So kind of a head-scratching loss there for Minnesota. Like I said, not necessarily that they lost, but that they got blown out and just looked really, really bad. The Rams, on the other hand, have 3 blowout wins. They really haven't had a close game all season, haven't really been tested yet. They've beat Arizona, San Diego, and I forget the third team. But anyway, they're sitting at 3-0. Todd Gurley honestly looks like an MVP candidate early in the season. Now people are going to say, well, of course I say that. I'm a Georgia fan. But, I mean, just watch the guy play. It's unreal. He leads the league in scoring. Which is unusual. That honor usually goes to a kicker, but right now Todd Gurley is just lighting it up. He's scoring running the ball. He's scoring catching the ball. He's top 10 in rushing. Like I mentioned, leads the NFL in scoring. It looks really unstoppable right now. Quarterback playing okay out there. And, of course, the Rams have had a pretty good defense for a few years now. This is a home game for the Rams. No way I see Minnesota winning this game. I'm just going to be honest. I think right now the Rams are a better team, and right now the Rams are playing better football. This is a short week here with being a Thursday night game. Not a lot of time for Minnesota to correct all the problems that went wrong from last Sunday, so I definitely think the Rams win this game. Now, NFL football, nothing like college football in terms of the spreads. You rarely see a double-digit spread in the NFL, and even 7 points is considered a lot of points to give in an NFL game. And in college, it's nothing to see, 22 points, 32 points, 42-point spreads. You don't see that in the NFL, a lot more parity. I think the Rams are 7 points better than Minnesota right now, especially playing at home, prime time. I think the Rams are going to come out ready to go. Having to travel on a short week is hard to do in the NFL. All right, now we're going to get to the college games. And like I mentioned, I've covered all the SEC games already on the Tuesday video, and then I did the remaining top 25 teams that weren't in the SEC on Wednesday. So that leaves what's left, which per usual for a Thursday is not all that much. Not very many exciting games outside of the the top 25 just by nature, but I have picked out a few here that are of at least some interest to me. And per usual, we're going to start with the noon games and work our way through the night games going in chronological order. All right, let's get started here with Oklahoma State on the road at Kansas. Kansas a surprising 2-2. Kansas typically over the last 10, 15 years has been one of the worst programs in America. 2-2. Now they're starting some serious league play here. I still think it's going to be a struggle for Kansas to win enough games to make a bowl. Oklahoma State had a demoralizing loss last weekend, kind of a head-scratching loss. I'm not sure what happened to their offense last week, but it just it didn't look good. 17 points seems like a whole lot to me. I do think Oklahoma State will win this game, but after what I saw last week from Oklahoma State, I'm not sure I can give 17 to a Kansas team that has overperformed expectations so far. I'm going to take the underdog here at home. Give me the Jayhawks and the 17. All right, and then this one's at noon too. Bowling Green at Georgia Tech. Man, Georgia Tech is terrible, ain't they? I keep saying it the last few weeks. I need Georgia Tech to reel off a string of wins here. I need Paul Johnson to keep his job in the worst possible way. This guy, Paul Johnson, what a terrible coach he is. But as long as Paul Johnson is running this idiotic triple option offense at Georgia Tech, then that means my Georgia Bulldogs never have to worry about trying to out-recruit him for any players at all whatsoever. Elite players just don't want to go and play there. We're not recruiting the same style of players they try to recruit. Not that Georgia Tech could out-recruit us on a consistent basis anyway, but if they ran a modern-day offense, I'm sure every couple of years they would get one or two pieces from what we wanted. Bowling Green, not a good team. Georgia Tech is a 28.5-point favorite in this one. Why? They've looked terrible all year. I do think Georgia Tech will win this game, but there's no way right now I can lay 28.5. That's over 4 touchdowns. There's no way I can lay that with Georgia Tech right now, even though it's a home game. I'm going to take the road dog in this one. Give me Bowling Green in all of those 28.5 points. All right, is Nebraska ever going to win a game here? Seriously, Cornhusker fans. I did this preview in the offseason where I talked about Nebraska, and I know how excited I was, see what Scott Frost could do there. I said, listen, Nebraska, are they going to win 9-10 games this year and make a run for the Big Ten? No, but they're going to be a lot better, at least offensively, right away because of Scott Frost, right? They agreed and disagreed. They agreed with me that they would be better. They disagree with me that Nebraska couldn't win 9 or 10 games and make a run for the Big Ten. Who's laughing now? I think I had Nebraska winning 5 games this year, and at this point, it's going to be a stretch to get there. They look really, really bad, and the surprising part is if you look at Nebraska's offense and defense, the defense actually looks better than the offense. The offense has just been horrible. They've got one of the worst third down conversion rates in all of college football. They're just really, really bad. There really are no bright spots so far for Nebraska. Now, Purdue, on the other hand, they're 1-3. Okay, so on paper, they don't look a lot better, but the games they have lost have been really, really close. I hate when people say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. They're 1-3, but they're pretty close to being 4-0. Okay, they gave Missouri everything they can handle. They lost a close game opening weekend at Northwestern. And I don't think Purdue's an elite team by any stretch of the imagination, but if you've watched them the last couple of weeks, the passing game has really started clicking for Purdue. They put up 500 yards passing against Missouri a couple of weeks ago, put up 400 this past weekend, so they've thrown for almost 1,000 yards over the last 2 weeks. It's a road game at Nebraska. How rowdy are the fans really going to be for a 3:30 home game for a team that's 0-3? I mean, I don't know. Not very, I don't think. And if Purdue can get out to an early lead in this game, which I think they will, I mean, this crowd is going to be non-existent. You know, they didn't bring Scott Frost in and pay him all this money so they could win 0 games in the month of September. But that's my prediction. I think Purdue wins this game. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but 3.5 points isn't enough. They'll win by more than that. Give me the Boilermakers, and Nebraska can have the 3.5. They need all the help they can get. All right, FSU at Louisville. This one 3:30 on ESPN2. Of course, Florida State 2-2. Louisville also 2-2. Speaking of how bad Scott Frost is, Willie Taggart, what are you doing? No one knows. Florida State has been awful. Speaking about third downs, I mean, they can't get anything going on offense either. Good news for Florida State is you're playing Louisville. They can't get anything going on offense either. Louisville's offense has been terrible. The run game has been non-existent. They can't throw the ball down the field. They can't make big plays. They just look really, really bad. Florida State's a 6.5-point road favorite in this one. Did Florida State figure anything out last week with a win? I don't know. They have to be better than Louisville, though. 6.5 points. I'm hesitant here. I have a feeling the Noles get it together this week. Give me Florida State. I'll lay the 6.5, but this is a tricky one. All right, and then Iowa State at TCU. This one's 7 o'clock over on ESPNU. Of course, TCU, an embarrassing loss last weekend. Iowa State, not much better, really. Oh, you don't just go into Iowa State and win a game. Okay, well, lucky for TCU, they don't have to. This is a home game for TCU. TCU is being favored by 10.5 in this one. That's not enough. I'm not a buyer on Iowa State. I don't care what Oklahoma fan tries to tell me about how good they are. That's bull. They're not very good. Whatever amount of good they are is cut in half when they have to go on the road, according to Oklahoma fan, because it's so hard to win there. 10.5 points. I'm not going to lie, and I could even show you. But when I first went through this, I was going to take Iowa State in the points. The more I'm thinking about it now, as I'm going through and doing this video, I just can't do it. I don't believe anything the Sooner fan tells me. Iowa State's not very good. TCU will rebound this week at home, get a big win. I'll take TCU. You can give the Cyclones those 10.5 points. Sooner fan, Iowa State.
Not good.
All right, there it is. A short video today. Like I said, not a whole lot of games worth talking about this Saturday outside of what I've already covered on the Tuesday and Wednesday video. Go back and watch those two videos if you haven't already. Most of the other, or all of the other big games coming up this weekend are covered in those two videos. All right, I really appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thumbs up this video and share it with your friends. And I'll see you next time. Have a great morning.